Democrats appear to be desperately praying for evidence of any potential wrongdoing by the president. He says their hopes have been futile so far. A former CIA agent says Joe Biden is the one who should be investigated because when he was vice president, he threatened to withhold military aid from Ukraine if they didn't fire the prosecutor investigating his son. One America's Jack Posobiec has more from Washington.
We're very excited to welcome back here to One America News Brad Johnson, the president of Americans for Intelligence Reform, yourself a former CIA officer. Thank you so much for being back with us.
Jack, always a pleasure to see you.
Now, let's walk through this latest D.C. drama of the IC whistleblower and this transcript of a call with Ukraine and the Joe Biden-Ukraine affair.
Yeah, a couple of things on that really float to the top quickly. One of them, of course, is that the president did absolutely nothing wrong. Now, the spin is already out there trying to discuss this as though there was something wrong there. But the president of the United States was speaking to his counterpart in Ukraine, which is the new president, newly elected president of Ukraine, and was discussing many things. A number of topics came up. Congratulations for winning his presidency in Ukraine. And he discussed a couple of things, one of which was there illegal activity that had taken place, and can the president get to the bottom of it? And we had Joe Biden himself admit that there was quid pro quo going on when he said, if you do not fire this prosecutor, then you're not getting this billion-dollar aid.
How often or frequent is this where you see the president of the United States, and speaking of your experience as a CIA officer, where you see the president of the United States talking to another world leader about an issue of public corruption like this?
It's super common. All those things take place at every level up and down the government. It's very common at a chief of station level, dealing with local services to discuss any sort of problem of that nature. If you come across something that is illegal by U.S. law, you are in fact required to respond to that and to pursue it. And that goes all the way up. The president of the United States is also required to pursue things that that appear to be illegal. What this guy is a political hack who's targeting the president of the United States. If you just look at the way this was done, it was reported up to the IG, which is Michael Atkinson. Now, he then went forward and apparently leaked all of this at least to Congress and to the press probably, but somewhere along the lines that all came out. Now, why would that take place? It should not have.
Final question. How do you think this plays out? How do you think the politics of this plays out?
Well, I think in the long run, this is a huge problem for Joe Biden as a candidate for president of the United States. I think this is an absolute tempest in a teapot when it comes to President Trump, because so clearly he did nothing wrong. It's all black and white there in the transcript. But for Joe Biden, he's admitted to the fact that he essentially was blackmailing Ukraine. Now, it may be that his motives were such that it doesn't create any legal problems for him, but it looks awfully suspicious that the prosecutor who was looking into his son and his son's business is the guy that he insisted on firing. So, I mean, it's extremely damaging to Biden that has come to the surface and being focused on. And every time the Democrats try to go to impeach the president based on this absolute nonsense, it just makes Joe Biden also rise to the top and get a lot more scrutiny. Now, he needs to justify what were his motives in doing it. It is reasonable that there were motives that are legitimate, but there's also reasonable to think that there might be motives that were not legitimate and perhaps illegal. That has to be investigated. We need to find out. We need to get to the bottom of it. And that's the actual center question that's going to have to be answered.
Brad Johnson, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights with us. Brad Johnson, President of Americans for Intelligence Reform.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.